Hey guys, it's Bob Moriali here with the Tuning School. I'm excited to welcome you to the 2019 season of Tech Tuesdays. So on the first episode of 2019, we're going to be talking about 7 facts about tuning that you're going to want to hear. So stay with me. Hey guys, so here at the Tuning School, we do get a lot of requests for, kind of what is tuning and how does it work? And the problem is, if you just read the public information out there, a lot of it's wrong. And so let's just clarify a little bit as far as what is tuning. Number one, it is not putting a giant wing on the back of your Honda, okay? We see that all the time. That is not tuning, okay? That might be in some weird tuning magazine, but that's not what we're talking about. Tuning is the act of improving the drivability, the fuel economy, and the performance, and possibly even the emissions of a vehicle. And so building on that, let's talk about fact number 2. So tuning actually varies by the type of car you're working on and the type of fuels and whatever other variables there are with that car. So for example, if you're tuning a bone stock car, that car was tuned to work well, but in kind of a generic way, all the way from Florida to Alaska to Denver, it'll work well. But is it optimized for any one particular location? No, it is not. And so even after speaking with the factory calibrators at different manufacturers, we know that they wish they could do this level of tuning for all their vehicles, but for them it's not a possibility. So tuning in that area with a bone stock vehicle means I've improved my fuel economy. How do I do that? Well, in geographic locations you can do that sometimes. Other things you can do is improve drivability and things that are driver preference. Maybe I like better shift patterns that are more aggressive or firmer or quicker than the other type of generic tunes that you get from the factory. So other type of things you could come across would be modified vehicles. So if you're working with a modified vehicle, it's almost a necessity to tune it afterwards. Because if you put a supercharger or cam or headers on that vehicle of yours, the computer doesn't know that you have done these modifications. So you're way more likely to have a problem, way more mechanical failures, terrible drivability, terrible emissions, all these things, bad fuel economy, where a tune goes a huge way in improving all those things. A good quality tune where a tuner takes his time, does your idle, your startup, your idle, your part throttle, then your full throttle, gets it all dialed in perfectly. And then of course the last application is probably race cars. So those cars have to have a tune, but the tune again varies based on the type of application that the race car is going to be in. We're going to get to that in a later fact. All right, that leads us to fact number 3, and we're going to talk about emissions for a little bit. Something nobody really ever likes talking about, but we'll talk about it. If you're building a race car, you don't really have to worry about any of this. And a race car is defined as something that has no insurance, no license plates, never going to be on a public road, race-only application. You're pretty well free to do what you want there. But what happens when you're building a street car, something that will be licensed and insured? Well, that does vary a little bit based on where you live. However, we have some generic kind of guidelines that we like to go by, which is number 1, don't be stupid. Don't build something that's some fire-breathing dragon that you have to try and completely work around all the factory controls to make it drive down the street, because that puts you over the line. That makes the emissions terrible. That gives you all sorts of problems and hassles. And also, please do not remove things like O2 sensors. Not only is it a violation of the law, but if you're at that point with a street car, you've done it wrong. You probably need to revisit your build. So that's as far as I'm going to go about that. Maybe we'll talk a little bit more about street car emission stuff in the future, but for now, just remember, don't remove O2 sensors, don't remove factory controls, build cars that make sense, that won't get anybody in trouble. All right, so fact number 4, there is no one single tuning shop that can do all different applications in a professional and awesome manner. It just doesn't exist. I know someone will complain about this, but the reality is I've been doing this since the mid-90s. I've been to all the tuning shops all over the world, and I have seen huge variations, but here's what I've seen. People tend to specialize and then they do it very, very well. So that's why you typically see Ford shops, and Ford guys go to Ford shops. GM guys go to GM shops. I'm not gonna say you can't have some crossover from platform to platform, or there can't be some tuners that can do a lot of things well. But what I am saying is that there really is no magic bullet, that only one facility is the one for all the different cars that you could possibly obtain. Because if that's true, that means that whoever is working there can't be super deep in their knowledge on all those different models. It means their depth of knowledge is shallow across a huge range. So my recommendation is, when looking for a shop to do your tuning for your vehicle, go find people that have actual long-term experience with that type of platform. Fact number 5, probably my favorite, because we get this all the time. So the fact, or the question really is, can I just go read the internet and get to tuning? Well, no. I'm sorry, you can't. Have people done it? Sure. Do I recommend it? Absolutely not. And worst case scenario, don't ever say, I bought some software and I've read some forums and, oh, this is my buddy's car, so I'm gonna go tune it now because I'm a tuner. So please don't go that road. Don't be that guy. If you're gonna go that road, at least mess up your own car. So my recommendation is, yes, it is dangerous. Don't do it unless you have some type of training. There's lots of places, not just the tuning school, where you can get trained. Of course, we'd love it if we could help you, but my recommendation is tuning is dangerous by definition. Do not attempt it just by reading some stuff on the forums, because literally you could just read the wrong thing, or you could interpret the wrong thing, which we've seen plenty of times, and the next thing you know, you've blown up your engine, or you've blown up your transmission, or whatever. Just don't do that. All right, so fact number 6, I became a tuner overnight. Not me, but you. And the answer really is no, you didn't. You became a guy with some software that could do some tuning. Kind of talked about this in the last point a little bit, but I'm getting a little deeper in it now and saying that actually knowing what you're doing takes months and months and months and years and years and years. And the way that we normally judge whether or not somebody actually knows what they're doing with tuning is if we say to them, you know, kind of, what do you think of this? And they go, well, you know, I don't know what I don't know yet. Once you kind of reach that realization point that there's way more out there than what you actually know, but you know enough to know that you don't know it all, that means you actually are kind of self-aware. And that means that you aren't going to be so arrogant that you're just going to go do something stupid and blow up somebody's car. So that may sound bad, but the reality is it takes at least 6 months of practice with a single vehicle type. So for example, GM Gen 4. If I want to say that this guy is good with GM Gen 4, he needs to be doing them every day for at least 6 months for us to even say, yeah, he probably knows what he's doing. And the reality is, if you want to actually become a certified tuner like we do, we have a very limited amount of certified tuners on the whole planet. We certify 6 people a year. And the reason we do that is it takes time. So if you're just signing up now and 6 months later you're thinking you're getting certified, you're at least a year. That's just the reality, because we want to make sure that you have experience, because cars are not all the same. Your experience level will not be the same, but you have to get experience with some breadth of knowledge to be able to say that you know what you're doing with a particular vehicle type. Fact number 7, there are a number of ways you can get educated on tuning, and yes, this is true. So what does that really mean? So the tuning school teaches an awesome process-based approach for tuning, and our recommendation is that you take time and get very good at a process-based approach for tuning with your particular vehicle type, so maybe it's GM or Ford or Dodge, before you move on to another brand, another type, for example. And what I really mean by that is, do you understand not just why the vehicle responds the way it does, but how does the computer think? How does the computer operate? Why does it make the decisions that it does? So if you get a little deeper in your knowledge level, then you are going to turn out to be a much better tuner in the end. And so sometimes people ask us, how can I get started in this whole process? What does it look like? Because it's a big, big processor. It's a big thing. I can't quite wrap my mind around it. So that's why we made packages. In fact, we have an enthusiast package. We have a shop owner package. These are things that include all the necessary tools, the learning materials, and the support for a year that you're gonna need, so that when you go back home and you get stuck, you don't understand why is the cam timing behaving the way it is, or why is the fueling behaving the way it is, we'll be able to help walk you through it to make you an educated tuner, which will not only give you a better chance at becoming successful, but also educate the industry as a whole and raise everybody up. All right, guys, so in closing, from these 7 facts, what's the main takeaway, or what do you really need to get? It's really simple. Get educated. No matter where you go, what you do, we'd love to help you, but you need to be educated, and you need to understand that you don't know everything yet because you're not there. I'm not there. Nobody is ever going to actually be there, because there's so much more to know and understand. If you're learning a little bit every day, you will come out better every day. Just keep doing that. Hey guys, that's all we've got for today, but before you go, make sure you actually leave a comment below, because we want to know what videos, what Tech Tuesday videos you'd like us to make for you this season. And so of course, if you leave a comment and you don't know when our video comes out, that's because you haven't hit the subscribe button. Whatever that is, if you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube or whatever, hit the button. That means you will be notified when our videos come out. And so thanks for watching. Make sure you go over to thetuningschool.com, check out whatever packages might be appropriate for your level of knowledge and tuning needs. And as always, stay tuned. Hey guys, it's 7 facts. Let's redo that. Goodbye. On this particular blah, 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 blah. Boom.